Imagine a world where you search for something and Google isn't the gatekeeper. No more default position on your phone. No more Chrome as your automatic browser. The very foundation of how we find information online and who controls it is under threat. This isn't just another tech story. Behind the scenes, a high-stakes battle is raging that could forever change how you, me, and billions of others interact with the web, and who profits from our daily questions. The US government, for the first time in decades, is standing toe-to-toe with a Silicon Valley giant, demanding seismic changes. At risk is Google's $2 trillion empire and the future of artificial intelligence itself. But what if breaking up Google only makes it more powerful? What if the rise of AI upends not just Google but decades of how we navigate the internet? And what happens to our data, our privacy, and our choices? These are more than legal questions. They are about the future of knowledge, power, and innovation on a global scale. So what's really happening? To understand the gravity of this moment, we need to rewind. For more than 2 decades, Google has been the undisputed ruler of online search. The story is almost mythic now. 2 Stanford PhDs, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, launch a search engine in 1998, promising to organize the world's information. Within 5 years, Google is a verb. Within 10, it is the world's main gateway to knowledge. The scale is staggering. Today, Google handles over 90% of global online searches. Its algorithms have become more powerful with every query, thanks to access to more data than any competitor even dreams of. In fact, Google collects 9 times more user search data each day than all its rivals combined. That data isn't just lines in a spreadsheet. It's the foundation for refining algorithms, understanding what people want, and crucially, for fueling the next generation of AI. But Google's dominance isn't just technical, it's strategic. The company has spent billions, reportedly over $20 billion a year, making sure its search engine is the default everywhere. On every iPhone, every Android phone, every browser. Deals with manufacturers, operating system developers, and even competitors have locked Google in as the default, making it almost unavoidable. These strategies, while brilliant from a business perspective, have drawn increasing scrutiny. Regulators from the US to the EU have started to see Google less as a champion of innovation and more as a digital gatekeeper, one with the power to crush competition before it even starts. History gives us cautionary tales. Think Standard Oil in the early 1900s or AT&T in the 1980s. Both were broken up after being deemed too powerful, their monopolies stifling innovation and choice. Could Google be next? The US Department of Justice thinks so. 4 years ago, they launched the biggest antitrust case in tech since Microsoft. Their argument? Google isn't just competing harder, it's unfairly locking out rivals, making it impossible for anyone else to get a foot in the door, especially as the next frontier, AI-driven search, emerges. Here's where things get really interesting. Artificial intelligence isn't just a buzzword. It's fundamentally changing how we interact with information. Tools like OpenAI's ChatGPT and Perplexity offer conversational answers, not just links. Apple, famously reliant on Google payments, is now reportedly developing its own AI-powered search engine. We're at an inflection point. Will AI pry open the gates Google has held shut, or will it let them cement their lead for another generation? The answer may hinge on what happens in the courtroom of U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta. Last year, he declared Google's search business an illegal monopoly. This year, the Justice Department wants more. They want Google banned from paying to be the default search engine. They want the company to be forced to sell its Chrome browser, the world's most popular access point to the web. Some officials even want Google to share its mountain of user data with competitors, or threaten to break up Android if all else fails. Let's pause for a moment. Consider what's at stake. If Judge Mehta sides with the DOJ, it could shatter Google's integrated empire. Remove Chrome, and Google loses its direct pipeline to users' data and web habits. Forcing Google to share its search data could make smaller competitors instantly more relevant, but at what cost to privacy? If these measures succeed, the internet as we know it could fragment. But if they fail, if Google appeals and wins, its grip might only tighten, especially as the world pivots into AI-powered everything. The global pressure on Google isn't isolated to the US. The European Union has already slapped Google with billions in fines for antitrust violations. Their regulators are watching the US case closely. The outcome could set a new global standard for what's allowed and what's not in the age of big tech. But is the US government's plan really the solution? Or could their intervention create new problems? Let's examine the two sides. The Justice Department argues that without tough, forward-thinking remedies, Google will just use its dominance to control the next era, AI-driven search. AI technology by itself will not rein in Google's power, insists Justice Prosecutor David Dahlquist. He wants remedies that pry open the market, not just nudge it. Their proposals are aggressive. Ban Google from exclusive deals, make them sell Chrome, force them to share user data with rivals, even, in a doomsday scenario, break up Android. The goal isn't to punish Google, it's to kickstart competitors' ability to challenge the search giant, as Judge Mehta himself put it. For context, DOJ lawyers point to history. Selling off a subsidiary is a common step in monopoly cases to restore competition, says Adam Severt, a DOJ attorney. But Google isn't giving up quietly. Their legal team insists that only minor changes are needed and that the entire search landscape is about to shift anyway because of AI. John Schmidtlein, Google's lead attorney, argues that generative AI companies are not trying to out-Google Google, they are something else. Google's argument is simple: let the technology evolve. If users want AI-driven search, startups like OpenAI and Perplexity should just get to work on their own products, not ask for a handout of data or forced regulation. Forcing Google to sell Chrome or share its data would not only be unfair, but could, in Google's words, break Chrome and make the web less secure and private for everyone. Parisa Tabriz, Google's VP of Engineering, warns that spinning off Chrome would break it, rendering it insecure and obsolete. Meanwhile, Apple, long Google's biggest customer in the search space, has stepped into the fray. It files court briefs defending its $20 billion a year deal with Google, warning that banning these contracts could ironically make Google even stronger. Why? Because in Apple's view, users will choose Google anyway, but Apple will lose the money it reinvests in its own research. Legal scholars are divided. Some say breaking up Google or forcing a data share would be an improper penalty and unwarranted government interference, risking chaos in the tech sector. Others believe these are the only ways to finally level the playing field. But startups and small developers are also worried. The App Association, representing thousands of smaller tech companies, argues that blowing up Google risks crashing the entire acquisition ecosystem. If Google, the likely acquirer for many startups, is torn apart, developers will be overcome by uncertainty. Opportunity could dry up. There's another, even darker angle: privacy. If the DOJ forces Google to share its trove of search data, who's responsible for protecting users' sensitive information? As Leanne Mulholland, Google's VP of Regulatory Affairs, puts it, DOJ's proposal would force Google to share users' most sensitive search queries, jeopardizing privacy. And amid all this, AI is rapidly changing the game. Google is already rolling out AI-powered summaries, so-called AI overviews, that sometimes leapfrog traditional blue links, giving users immediate conversational answers. Critics argue the technology is rushed, with questions about accuracy, but the move signals Google's determination to lead in the age of AI-driven information. If they succeed, their dominance could not just survive the antitrust assault, it could be supercharged. OpenAI and Perplexity, both in the courtroom and the headlines, see a unique opportunity. Their executives have openly stated they would be interested in acquiring Chrome if it goes up for sale. Nick Turley, OpenAI's product lead for ChatGPT, testified that access to Google's search data would help them turbocharge their AI models. Yet even as new search contenders and AI startups circle, one question haunts the entire debate. What is the right balance between encouraging real competition, protecting our privacy, and ensuring the web remains open and innovative? Judge Mehta, the man at the center of this storm, is keenly aware of the stakes. "We're not looking to kneecap Google," he cautioned in court. "The goal is to kickstart competitors' ability to challenge the search giant. Even so," he admits, "this is what I've been struggling with." And so, as the world waits for his decision, a ruling expected within months, but likely to spark appeals that could drag on for years, the future hangs in the balance. Will this antitrust showdown unleash a new era of innovation and competition, perhaps even an AI-powered rival to Google's empire? Or are we simply setting the stage for Google to evolve, adapt, and entrench itself even further? And crucially, what does this all mean for you? For the ways you search, the privacy you expect, and the future of knowledge itself? The answers might surprise you. But before we look at what could happen next, let's dig deeper into the real dangers and opportunities of a world where Google's grip is loosened, or perhaps paradoxically, strengthened by the assault. Let's look to the future. because what happens next won't just affect Google. It will shape the way billions of us interact with the internet, access information, and even how we understand truth itself. The courtroom drama is far from over. Judge Mehta's looming decision is only the beginning of a much larger story, and the possible consequences, all hinging on one choice, are nothing short of seismic. Let's explore the four major scenarios experts believe could unfold, each with its own intrigue, risks, and opportunities. In the first, the Department of Justice wins big. Judge Mehta decides to impose radical remedies. Chrome is spun off, Google is banned from paying billions to remain the default search on devices, and, most dramatically, Google is forced to share some of its search data with rivals. The intended effect? Level the digital playing field. Suddenly, the floodgates open for smaller search engines and ambitious AI startups. Imagine a landscape where Perplexity, OpenAI, or even a startup we haven't heard of yet can use vast pools of search data to train their own AIs, making them genuinely competitive with Google. In theory, this could lead to a renaissance of innovation. New search models, smarter AI assistants, and more privacy-focused options could all flourish. But the risks are real. Would users be comfortable with even more companies accessing their search habits? Leanne Mulholland, Google's VP of Regulatory Affairs, warns that forced data sharing would jeopardize user privacy on an unprecedented scale. And it's not just about safety. Google's Parisa Tabriz says spinning off Chrome would break the product entirely, leaving it insecure and obsolete. Is sacrificing stability and security a price worth paying for more competition? The second scenario, Google weathers the storm. Imagine Judge Mehta splits the difference, calling for only minor changes, perhaps stricter oversight, but no forced breakup, and certainly no massive data sharing. Google appeals and drags the case out for years. Meanwhile, its AI juggernaut Gemini continues to evolve, and Google remains the world's front door to information. The danger here is stagnation. Without significant competition, Google could continue controlling what we see, how ads are delivered, who gets to innovate, and at what pace. Critics warn this locks in not just search, but the entire AI frontier. Now, scenario 3. Apple, disillusioned by antitrust headaches and lured by AI's promise, finally launches its own AI-powered search engine built into Safari. It's not science fiction. It's already rumored to be in development. If Apple successfully pivots, it could change everything. With over 1 billion devices, Apple could instantly put a dent in Google's traffic, maybe even break its search business's stranglehold. Eddie Q, Apple's SVP of Services, put it bluntly, "We're actively looking at shifting the focus of Safari's search experience to AI search engines." This could usher in a powerful new competitor and by sheer scale force Google to up its game or risk irrelevance. For users, it could finally mean meaningful choice, real competition, smarter search, more privacy. Then there's the walled garden scenario, the darkest timeline, some say. Here, Google leverages any court-ordered changes, however minor, to pivot and double down on its ecosystem. It uses its dominance in Android, Chrome, and ads to favor its own AI products, essentially creating a closed-off digital world. New AI search models from competitors are locked out or throttled by design. Most users never see the alternatives, and Google's grip tightens, even as it argues it's following the letter of the law. Innovation withers, rival products are stunted, and Google's definition of the web becomes the only one that matters. Which path will we take? Judge Mehta himself admits he's struggling to balance real, practical remedies with the rapid, unpredictable disruption AI is bringing to search. As he said in court, "We're not looking to kneecap Google. The goal is to kickstart competitors." But in this high-stakes world, even a well-intentioned nudge can have world-altering effects. If you're wondering what this all means for you, the answer is everything. The way search works, the companies controlling it, the privacy of your queries, the quality and trustworthiness of the answers you get, impacts your daily life in ways you might not even notice. Every time you type a question, shop for a product, or search for news, you're living with the consequences of these invisible power struggles. So what can you do about it? Here are 4 crucial lessons and actions to consider. First, be aware of your digital environment. Most of us use Google by default on all our devices, often simply because it's there, not because we've weighed other options. Try experimenting with alternatives. DuckDuckGo for privacy, Bing for AI-powered results, or niche search engines like Brave and StartPage. Even if you don't stick with them, seeing how different search engines work can make you more aware of the algorithms shaping your worldview. Second, Pay attention to privacy. As the battle heats up, more companies may gain access to user data, all in the name of competition. Take control. Regularly check search and browser settings, clear your history, and use privacy tools when available. Remember, your data is valuable currency in the AI race. Third, scrutinize the answers you get. With AI-generated summaries now replacing traditional blue links on Google, it's easier than ever for errors, biases, or outright misinformation to slip in unnoticed. Always check sources, compare answers, and don't accept the first result as gospel, especially if it's presented as an AI overview. Fourth, support real innovation and accountability. The apps and companies you choose matter. By trying new tools and giving feedback, you signal to the market that you value openness, quality, and choice. This is especially true if Apple or another big player launches a new search platform. Your clicks, queries, and choices, multiplied by millions, can shape the future far more than you might think. At the end of the day, the big question is whether this court case can deliver on its promise: a more open, competitive, and innovative digital future. Historically, antitrust cases have been a double-edged sword. The Standard Oil breakup reshaped energy markets and fueled unprecedented growth. The AT&T case spun off the Bell system into regional companies, paving the way for the internet and mobile revolution. But the Microsoft antitrust case, hailed in its time, arguably left the company bruised but still dominant, with some innovations merely delayed rather than democratized. So, will breaking Google's stranglehold spark a new wave of innovation? Or will it unleash a new era of chaos, privacy risks, and entrenched power just with new players? According to Rebecca Haw-Allensworth, a leading law professor, this case is as significant as the Microsoft case, if not more so. Its outcome will be a bellwether, not just for tech, but for the very idea of how democracies constrain digital monopolies in the 21st century. And here's a secret fact few realize. Even as the world debates Google's search dominance, the company is quietly collecting 9 times more user search data every single day than all its rivals combined. This hidden advantage may be the true key to the AI kingdom. Whoever owns the data can build the smartest models, and right now, that's Google. In the coming months, all eyes will be on Judge Mehta's decision. But in reality, the battle for the future of search and AI is just beginning. Regulation, competition, and, you guessed it, your own habits will all play a role. Will the court's intervention break Google's hold and spark an open, innovative future? Or will change prove illusory, as entrenched giants find new ways to maintain control? The real answer perhaps lies in what we choose to do next. Are we content to let a handful of companies shape our digital world, or will we demand and explore something better? If you found this video valuable, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into the tech battles shaping your world. Drop a comment. Would you use a